talking all about vision boards, and I know it's probably the #1 topic everywhere when beginning the new year. However, we're not going to be talking about sticking pictures together and calling it your new life. No. We're actually going to be diving a little bit more deeper into why vision boards even exist and discussing how we can actually utilize vision boards how they should be. So stay tuned even if you have started your vision board or you are about to start it, because there might be some key insights that will help you think a little bit more deeper into how you see your life and how you see the vision for your life. So stay tuned. Here are the sections that I'm going to be running through today. You can skip ahead or you can stick with me. That'll be nice. Thanks. So the first section is redefine vision. I really want to look into this and just unpick some of the myths that we've been fed about vision boards, because I do feel like there's this idea of vision boards being this more lifestyle and identity thing instead of a vision for your life that you have, that you really want for you. It's just really looking at how some of these things could be immediate goals, which are almost steps towards your vision. And the vision is the end destination. Section 2, we're looking at avoiding pitfalls. This is so essential because of how society is impacting us, how hyperconsumerism is impacting us, and how we can just fall into a deep well without even realizing. So we're going to be looking at how some of these vision boards that we might have might be more on the materialistic side and less on the meaningful side. Step 3, focus on the process and not just the product. We're going to be looking at the processes towards this vision. A vision board without action is like a recipe without ingredients. You're not going to finish the dish. So we're going to be looking at the processes and things that you can do towards the vision that you want, so you can see how the challenges might be, what questions you can ask yourself that will enable you to move forward and not keep you stuck. And step 4, aligning with your light. We all have a burning passion for things. It's the thing that we're so drawn to, but we might not know it because of all the things that we're consuming and things that is overpowering it. But we can unpack that. We can actually unpack it and see and figure out and get to a deeper root of what our light is. So when I was reading the definition of what is a vision, it was that you have a clear picture of your future. Now, I don't fully agree with this, because the vision that you have for your life might not fully be clear, because it could also be limited to your circumstances that you're in, your environment that you're in, only the things that you have been exposed to. And I believe that the vision that you should have for your life is something that you may not be able to see. It may be far from you, maybe something that you have never even seen before, that you've never experienced, but you have this thing inside of you that you feel, and there are thoughts inside of your mind that you can see as well, but it might not be clear cut. So I don't necessarily believe that a vision is always the clearest, but it is something that is a picture of what you want for your future life. And now this can be in your career, this could be in your relationship, this can be in your family life, this could be even in your personal hobbies. This is the ultimate thing of how you want your life to be set up. Now, I know with vision boards, even with Gen Z, there is a big sense of identity collation that happens. There is more focus on how we want our identity to be, how we may want ourselves to dress and look and maybe act. You know, there is also this idea of the girl boss vision board, and how that life looks and how that person acts and talks and what they buy or do on the weekend. It's sometimes a bit more on the identity collation side and less on the meaningful side. Redefining the idea of the vision board is more so by looking more into what you really value in life and what has been on your heart, what vision has been in your mind that you've been getting, any dreams maybe of where you see yourself in the future, what things you're really passionate about and really drawn towards. And I'm going to provide some more questions that can help you answer these things as well. But having vision for your life is about shifting from what you think you want and what you've been taught to what is deep inside of you that is calling you. A vision captures the essence of the life you want to build. And so that's when the goals will come in. And sometimes I feel like we're setting more so goal boards, if you can call it that. Sometimes I feel like we're setting more goal boards because we're setting more so immediate things that are so within reach that some people are actually limiting their abilities and the power that they actually have to change their life. I genuinely feel like some people are not even pushing themselves hard enough. Some of the vision boards, let's say, are more so things that are so within reach that they could just be the goal instead. And that's why I'm saying this thing about some of these boards are just goal boards. They are the steps that we can take to build the life that we want. And I think it's really important to understand the difference between goals and the difference between visions. Goals are like steps that you take to build your vision. The vision is the end destination. It's like walking up the stairs and knowing that you're doing that to get to your bedroom. The bedroom is the end destination and the stairs are the goals. In order for me to get to this destination, I need to take this step, then I take the next step, then I take the next step, because that will lead me to get from here all the way up to here, which is gonna lead me to my end destination. So I want us to really look at how we're defining vision boards and how we're also collating these vision boards, what images we're using. Are we using things that are more so tied to society and what we're just normally drawn to, our environment, or are we really going deeper and seeing what else is there we may not have the access to? Is there more research that we can do into something that has been on our heart that we may think, it's too far out of reach, I'll never get there, or I'll never be able to talk to this person or be in the room with this person. But maybe there's some research you need to do in order to figure out exactly how to get to that vision, because the goals can be immediate goals, they could be long-term goals as well, but the vision is the end destination, the absolute end. It's not the tomorrow, it's not the six-pack tomorrow, it's not the face mask tonight, I hope you get what I'm saying. Really look into and dig a bit more deeper into what your vision board looks like. Proverbs chapter 60 verse 9 says, "The heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps." This verse to me is saying that you need to have a plan for your life. Otherwise, people are going to make a plan for your life. If you've ever been in a situation where you just work to get money and that's it, just because you need things paid. Sometimes you will find yourself in situations where people will paint the life for you. People will start to put you in positions for you. You may have gone into working somewhere and now all of a sudden you become a maths teacher and now you're head of maths. But that is not the plan for your life. That was not the plan for your life. You've actually deterred completely from the plan. And you could be robbing yourself of the blessings that will come from you actually getting to your destination. So sometimes when you don't make your plan for yourself, other people make that plan for you. Other people have a plan for your life, I'm telling you. And sometimes that plan ain't nice. Sometimes you're just a number. And that's the realness of life. Sometimes you would just be another colleague. Sometimes you would just be another number in the system. And that's exactly what it is. They might not have the love and care for you that you need. So have that plan for your life. And like the verse says, the Lord will establish your steps. He will make sure that you are on the right path. Don't you worry. Step 2, avoid common pitfalls. Now, social media has made vision boards aspirational and not intentional. And I say this because some of the things that we're aspiring to be are completely not of us and who we are. Now, being intentional about your vision board is knowing who you are and knowing what's specific. And specific is such a key word because specific means individual to you. Being specific is about making choices for yourself, knowing who you are, knowing that this person needs exactly this thing. When you guys went on your school trips back in the day and they would ask about the packed lunches and they would say, okay, is anyone allergic to this? Does anyone not eat meat? Does anyone not eat fish? Is anyone allergic to dairy? They have specific needs. Each of us have specific needs that we have to tend to. Otherwise, something fatal can happen. If your friend was allergic to nuts and you gave them an almond chocolate bar, what is that going to do to them? When they've told you, I am allergic to nuts, my throat closes up, I might even faint. But you've given them something that they are allergic to. You've not attended to their needs, therefore something fatal has happened. It's the same thing. If you are not tending to your needs for your vision board, you are going to drive yourself in a destination that could be fatal for you, that could shift your life completely and take you from the place that you are destined to be. It can put you in a position where it can be fatal. You might even become more insecure, driving towards things that are not of you. That's why it's so important, because visualization, the whole point of vision boards is to visualize what your future life is going to look like. When you visualize something, it's almost an everyday thing. It's something that you do intentionally because you are almost manifesting this thing. Now, if you are manifesting something that is not for you, be careful, because the end result might be fatal. The end result, if it's not for you, it could leave you in a place when you might not enjoy, where it might become distasteful and less pleasing. Because if we're being honest, some of these vision boards are more so drawn to societal norms, consumerist ideals, and privilege. Some of these vision boards, some of these images that we get on platforms are more so based on curating this identity of a specific person sometimes. Some of these vision boards are just curated performances of identity and also a borrowed idea of success. Some of these things are just a borrowed idea of success. Because looking at what you really think successful is can actually change what's on your vision board. Some of these things that we see as successful, that we see on these images, on these platforms as successful, it's sometimes not. Sometimes it's just not. And we do see it with people when they get to maybe achieving the promotion, or when they get their new job, or when they make 6 figures. That borrowed idea of success can really taint your vision of what you have for your life as success. And we just need to be more compassionate for ourselves. Some of these things we're really forcing. Some of these things on the vision board we're really forcing. Why do you need a 6-pack? Why can't you just be healthy and fit? I'm speaking to myself here. Because I've definitely come from a place where my idea of a vision board was driven more so from my consumerism state and not from a meaningful state, not from what my idea of success looks like of my life. That's why I say intentionality with your vision board is important, because you need to tend to you. You need to tend to you. Now, a Stanford study revealed that people who set intrinsic goals, such as personal growth goals, relationship goals, have reported higher life satisfaction than those with intrinsic goals, such as wealth and fame. So really think about, what does success actually look like for you to avoid that fatal pitfall? Step 3, focus on the process, not the product. Not the product. Focus on the process, not the product. The thing about vision boards in today's society, in today's world, is that the images that we collate together extract the realness that comes from achieving some of these things. Because you're not seeing the amount of hours that you're gonna have to put in. You're not seeing the challenges that you're gonna have to put in. You're not seeing the questions that you might have to ask yourself along the way. It's like making spaghetti bolognese. I keep bringing so many references, but stick with me. It's like making spaghetti bolognese. You have your meatball, you have your spaghetti, but you always need the sauce so it tastes really nice and saucy, you know what I mean? But if you don't have the sauce, you're gonna have some dry bolognese. Why would you want that? If you don't have the right ingredients, if you don't have any ingredients, or you're missing the ingredients from your vision board, you're not going to finish the dish at all. You might just be left with nothing, or you might be left with something that you are unsatisfied with. Because we're painting so much of what we think, or what we think we've seen is what our end goal should be like, or what our vision should be like. But this can be very disheartening, but also self-deprecating if we're really forcing this idea of what we want. And remember, we are literally in environments, we are in circumstances that limits us from what we see and what we know, unless we go further and deeper into exploring it. One of the issues sometimes with these vision boards is that they don't tell you the truth. They don't tell you the rubble that you're gonna have to go through. They don't really show what you go through. And sometimes this stops us in our tracks because we never realize the challenges we're gonna go through. We never realize our journey, our specific journey was not gonna be like this person's, because we might have just been stuck in thinking, yeah, my life is gonna look like this specific image, when none of us are the same. So that's why being intentional, being specific, tending to you is so integral, is so essential. And you really have to be honest with yourself, because how can you have clarity if you're not honest with yourself? Yeah. And trust me, I got hit with that. I got hit with that myself. How can you have clarity if you're not being honest with yourself? If you're not being honest with your vision, if you're not being honest with what you really want to do, and if you're not being honest with the things that you might have to do to get there, the questions that you might have to ask yourself, that you might be trying to run away from. It might not show you that some of these things that you might be trying to attain, you might have to go to therapy for. You might actually need some serious help. Because that's the realness of life. Sometimes we might actually need more help than we know. But creating a meaningful vision board, it does start with being honest about your values, about your desires and purpose. And you can ask yourself, what do you love? Like, what do you truly love? Beyond what you've been taught to value. What strengths do you naturally possess? What are you naturally good at? What can you be paid for? What things already in the world exist that resonate with you? That every time you see it, every time you hear about it, you feel so strong about this thing. And how are you able to contribute meaningfully? Do you want to create impact? Do you want to be of service? Asking yourself some of these questions help you to just align a bit more with your vision and what you truly want for your life. Now, writing these things down, answering these questions, and also doing visualization is also going to help with having that clarity. It's such a key tool because it rewires your brain and makes your brain run for this thing. It makes your brain think of this thing constantly. It's almost a carrot on a stick. You know exactly where you're going. You see this thing in your head. It's like, I don't know, I don't want to spoil Mufasa for you guys, but if you watch it, you know what I'm talking about with Malele. But visualization rewires your brain and moves you forward so much more because it shows you constantly that this is what you are moving towards. Sometimes when you don't know what you're moving towards, you don't move. Sometimes you just don't move. Have you ever been in a situation where someone's told you a destination that you need to go to? They've only given you the postcode, they didn't give you the number. They didn't give you the number of the door. They just give you the postcode for the area. And you just stood there. You don't move, you don't really go anywhere. You might try to walk in other places to maybe see, but if you've never seen this place, then you're going to stay in the same place. You're not really going to be able to get to that destination. And it's the same thing. If you practice visualization, if you practice seeing what this place looks like, what this plan looks like for your life, you won't need to stand still. very awkwardly, looking for directions, you'll be able to move. And this moves us into the next section, which is moving with the light that you have within you. And lastly, section 4, aligning with your light. Now, we all have this burning light inside of us, where we feel drawn to doing this thing, where we feel so passionate about doing something. And it may have been buried over consumerism, it may have been buried over societal pressures, it may have been buried over trauma, it may have been buried over just going years and years and years by just doing what you're being told to do, doing what the plans that other people have for you and not the plans that you have for yourself. So with this light, you want it to keep burning. You want to keep it burning as long as you can. So really get into the root of what your light is so essential. And it's so important for you to express exactly what's on your heart. Sometimes, even with creatives, this is difficult because sometimes the light takes you maybe only 2 steps. It maybe takes you forward a little bit and you look lost. The pathway isn't as clear. It's not as lit. There's only a particular circumference that the light is shining upon and you can't see anywhere ahead. But just like the verse that I mentioned today, the Lord will establish your steps. So when you're trying to move and you can't fully see the pathway, just know that the Lord will establish your steps. Sometimes it might feel cold, it might feel like you're blind, it might feel as if you're so lost you want to turn back, or you want to go along a pathway that you can just fully see, a pathway that you've seen other people do. But if you want to stick on this pathway, just know your steps will be established. But sometimes it takes a bit of listening, sometimes it takes a bit of feeling and understanding, questioning, to understand how to step, where to step, whilst holding this light. Even when your path is unclear, trust that your persistence and your alignment with your values will guide you. So now we have reached the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me again for another week. If you know, you know. At the end of my videos, I do 1 takeaway, 1 action, and 1 promise. So my takeaway for this week is vision boards are tools for clarity and purpose, not just dream collages. Use them to align your actions with your faith and values. My 1 action is for you to focus on purpose over possession. Now, those questions that I had up, I'm gonna put them here again, but I want you to go through some of these questions. And if you don't go through all of them, the 1 question that I at least want you to ask yourself is, what life do you really feel called to create? And 1 promise. When you align your vision with intentional action, you will see a change in who you want to become. Not what society has shown you, who you want to become, not in who your parents might want you to become. And so that was my 1 takeaway, my 1 action, and my 1 promise. Thank you guys so much for joining with me and sticking with me into the end. If you did, then you're a trooper. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below as well. I want to hear what y'all think. And share this video with someone who might actually be starting their vision board soon. You know, they didn't start it in January, they might be starting it now. Or someone who even did start their vision board. Maybe they might need to rethink some things. So don't gatekeep. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.